An officer pulls a burning woman from a tent in an encampment. She was sent to hospital in serious condition. He burned his hands. We have the message from police this hour.
Run over and killed by his own vehicle. It happened to a garbage truck operator in Scarborough this morning. We have a live update from the scene.
And the Lamborghini involved in a hit and run has been found, but not the driver. Police need your help.
This is Live at 5.
Good evening. I'm Bakari Sapp.
And I'm Melissa Duggan. Welcome to Live at 5. A woman has life-threatening injuries after being found on fire in an encampment in South Etobicoke.
And police are appealing for witnesses for the very latest on the investigation. Let's go live to CP24's crime analyst, Steve Ryan. Steve.
Yeah, Bakari and Mel, Toronto police tell us that they responded to this area near Lakeshore Boulevard West and 8th Street just before 10 o'clock this morning regarding an assault. And what they discovered was a woman that was set on fire inside of a tent. Now, the primary crime scene is behind me, behind the Ontario Fire Marshal's vehicle, which you see in our shot. As a result of the injuries, this woman is in life-threatening condition. The OFM has taken lead of the fire investigation. They, of course, determine cause, origin, and circumstances of a fire whenever there is serious bodily harm or a death that occurs. There is a criminal investigation being conducted by 22 Division as well. The OFM will take the lead on the fire investigation, and any evidence that comes out of the fire investigation that may lead to criminal charges, the Toronto Police investigators will rely on the evidence of the experts from the Ontario Fire Marshal's office and perhaps even from the Toronto fire investigators as well. Earlier on, we heard from the duty inspector of the Toronto Police, and we heard from the second in charge from 22 Division. 22 Division is the division in which this occurrence occurred. And here's comments from both of them.
A woman was seen walking away from the area around the time of this incident. And we're working to determine who she is and whether she may have information that could help us understand what occurred here today. We're asking anyone who was in the area and may have any information or dash cameras or videos to please contact Toronto Police.
We know that this building behind me is abandoned. However, it has a number of people that have been squatting within the building itself and the laneway. So there's certainly regular check-ins by ourselves, the City of Toronto, for the well-being of the people that occupy the area. In terms of any criminality that's occurred, not that's come to my attention. It's certainly not of this magnitude or alarm.
That woman that the officer described walking away from the scene, she is very important when it comes to information that she might have, and she may not even realize the importance of the information that she has. So she and anybody else who has any information pertaining to this tragic event that happened at 9:45 this morning, Lakeshore and 8th Street, is being encouraged to give the police a call. Send it back to you guys.
Oh, such a tragic story. Thank you so much for that update there, Steve. A city worker is dead after being run over by the garbage truck he was operating in Scarborough this morning.
CP24's Andrew Brennan continues our live coverage of this with the very latest. Andrew.
Bakari, Melissa, this is certainly another tragedy that's unfolding in our city. And we have obtained video which purportedly shows exactly what happened. We're not going to show it. It is very much too graphic to air. But what it seems to show is this worker, as the vehicle is in operation and moving, seemingly trying to run or walk very quickly after it, slipping on a snowbank, it seems, and falling underneath the back two wheels and being run over. According to police, he died on scene. Now, as I said, this would be too graphic to be able to show. What we can show you right now from above is the scene just after the call came in around 8:30 this morning. Now, all we've heard from Toronto Police is that this man was 66 years old. There were several members of his union, other blue-collar workers who came to the scene trying to, in some cases, it was a question of what to do to be able to help, and also in terms of what they can do in the investigation. But ultimately, this will have ripple effects amongst the blue-collar worker corps. We did hear from people who lived in the neighborhood, unable to see what happened, but do were able to look at door cam video and showing us as well. Here's one of those neighbors who didn't witness, but was able to review this horrible tragedy.
He was walking, he slipped,
Yeah.
and the truck just went over him, and that's all I saw.
How are you feeling about all this?
It's really sad. Like, you're upset. He's a serviceman. He deserved a full life.
A similar sentiment being echoed by the local 416 union that represents blue-collar workers. They were saying that their hearts go out to this man and his family, that they will be a part of any investigation and help as needed with the Ministry of Labour, which is investigating, as well as the Toronto Police, which is continuing its investigation separately. So Bakari and Melissa, while we do seem to have a lot of the details now, the investigations ultimately are what going to be provide in some capacity an official form of closure for this man's family to be able to give a true end statement to what transpired. Ultimately, though, this does appear to be a tragic accident that claimed the life of a 66-year-old who will not be going home to his family tonight. I'll send it back to you.
Okay, reporting live, CP24's Andrew Brennan. And police have released images of a man wanted in a hit and run. This was downtown. It left a pedestrian with serious injuries.
They're trying to identify this man who was wearing black clothing and white shoes. Investigators say a woman was crossing Queens Quay at Yonge Street when she was struck after 7 p.m. last night. The vehicle, a white Lamborghini SUV, was later recovered. Police are appealing for information. Anyone from witnesses or anyone who was in the area and has dash cam footage to come forward. Toronto Fire is on the scene of an apparent water main break. This in Scarborough this hour.
Okay, here's a live look. This is the scene where water, you can see it is still shooting up into the sky, into the air right there. This is on a state drive. It is also creating a massive pool of water down the street near Markham Road and Progress Avenue. CP24 has reached out to the city for more information. We're going to update you as soon as we know more. Okay, let's get a check on the commute with CP24's traffic specialist, Adjoa Nsiah-Yeboah. Adj, it's 5:07. How are the roads?
How do you think they are, Bakari?
Well,
take a wee guess. What do you think's going on?
Traffic.
Traffic is going on, Bakari, and you were just talking about this burst water main that it's happening on a state drive. I'm just going to give you a view of the actual pooling and where that water's funneling out. So it's impacting westbound progress just west of Markham Road. That's where it's been completely blocked off. So if you're a commuter and that's usually your route, you're going to have to use an alternative just to get yourself by. This water is funneling through this stretch, and that's creating all sorts of headaches for commuters that are just trying to make their way home from work and school because of that burst water main happening on a state drive, which is just north of this intersection. Now, I'm going to show you my cameras on the northbound 410. Everything can't be bad. Still very slow on the northbound 410 from Steeles all the way up to north of Queen. MTO turned their camera around because he had a collision. It wasn't the two left lanes. Problems there have cleared. It remains a busy afternoon on the 401 across the top of the city, but no live lane issues anymore. And on the DVP North, pretty busy north and southbound, pretty much between the Gardner and the 401, but at least no live lane issues. Send it back to you.
This CP24 traffic report is brought to you by 407 ETR. Enjoy the journey with a stress-free commute.
Police are searching for a suspect after a woman was stabbed in Scarborough this morning.
The attack happened in the Markham Road and Steeles area right around 7:30. Investigators say that the suspect waited for the victim outside of a business and assaulted her with what's being described as an edged weapon. And the woman was taken to hospital with what police are calling life-threatening injuries.
Investigators have released these pictures of the suspect. He's described as 5'8" with a medium build. He was wearing a blue hat, black jacket, and black pants. Police are also putting out these images of the vehicle they say the suspect left the scene in. It's described as a white, newer model Nissan Sentra. Anyone with information or additional video from the area being asked to contact police or Crime Stoppers.
And police are asking for help finding a missing Scarborough man.
27-year-old Matthew was last seen on Thursday near Kennedy Road and Ellesmere Road. He's described as 5'10" with a medium build, was last seen wearing a dark green and brown winter jacket with red, yellow, and black sneakers. He was carrying a light blue backpack. Anyone who spots him, you are being asked to contact police. It is 5:09-2. This is Live at 5.
Still to come, calls for a public inquiry over the long-delayed Eglinton LRT. More on the ongoing frustration as we wait an official opening. Councillor Josh Matlow is calling for a public inquiry into the Eglinton Crosstown LRT. This as the line gets closer to opening.
The $13 billion 19-kilometer line passed a key 30-day testing milestone yesterday, which officials have said is crucial to its opening. The milestone had Transportation Minister Prabmeet Sarkaria describing the potential opening as so close. Matlow says an inquiry is needed into the years of delays so the same mistakes are never repeated.
I've received leaked memos over the years showing some of the problems, some of the technical problems, some of the issues with the platform alignment, etc. But every time that you, the media, along with members of council and the public, has asked Metrolinx basic questions about what's wrong, what problems have you had, they refuse to answer. They say, give us some space. They make announcements that they're not going to give announcements. It is ludicrousy, and that's not how a public agency should run.
ATU Local 113 President Marvin Alfred joined Matlow's calls for transparency from Metrolinx after a worker was injured at the Mount Dennis yard earlier this year.
The accident October 16th, we only have word of mouth amongst our peers as to what happened or what's going on. And we talk about confidence, we talked about clarity, we talk about transparency. We're not getting it. We have workers, health and safety reps. We have executive board members that have in writing asked for information and clarity regarding what happened with that accident, and we're being stonewalled. There is a real problem with confidence.
Well, Transportation Minister Prabmeet Sarkaria says that there's still a chance that the Eglinton LRT is operating before the end of the year.
There is a possibility in the sense if you look at the tour, the Crosstown has had training on it for over a year with respect to the system. We've gone through a lot of training. We've also seen the Finch system completed last month. So the interval between the two periods is not comparable in that sense, but we're going to work with our partners on this at the TTC to determine that date.
So, yeah. Construction on the Eglinton Crosstown began in 2011 and was originally supposed to be completed in 2020. That is 5 years ago. We spoke with residents about the line this morning.
I really would be happier if I found out why it was taking so long and, what is going to change if it happens in the future.
I moved into this neighborhood like 6 years ago, and I thought any day now, I was like, because I would pick my grandson up at Avenue Road in Lawrence, and I would have to fight the buses coming home. And I was like, if the TTC opened the LRT, it would make it so much easier. So, and then they built this infrastructure, and I've seen the testing going on, and I thought it would be any day now.
Well, the TTC has been training staff to operate the Eglinton LRT for more than a year.
So we are keeping a very close watch on all of that timing. Another story we're following tonight, 2 TTC stations will officially go by new names starting Sunday. Dundas Station has been renamed TMU Station as part of a partnership with Toronto Metropolitan University, which includes TMU helping with research into some issues facing the TTC. TMU covered the $1.5 million cost for the name change, and Eglinton West Station will soon go by Cedar Vale Station. The new names will soon be reflected in signage, on maps, and during announcements on the TTC.
It's 5:15, 2 below zero. This is Live at 5.
Ontario's Auditor General says the province is falling short when it comes to connecting patients to primary care. We have more from her annual report next.
Ontario's Auditor General has released her annual report, which has raised some concerns, particularly about the healthcare system.
Let's go to CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris for the very latest. What are you learning there today, Siobhan?
Well, there was this big focus on healthcare, and one of the areas that the Auditor General really zeroed in on was the question of doctor billing, essentially how doctors get paid, the bill they send to the province to get money back. And Shelley Spence, the auditor, found that there's just not enough oversight of that practices. She found some anomalies that I think would really surprise a lot of people, and she says they surprised her. Things like doctors billing for as much as 100 hours in a single day, saying that they worked 365 days a year, seeing 500 patients in a single day, things that really sort of test the limits of plausibility and maybe physics. We did hear from the government, though, the parliamentary assistant to the Minister of Health. She wasn't available today. The government does say that they are looking into some of these anomalies, but they are urging people not to jump to conclusions.
The complexity of the treatment that some people get causes certain things to overlap with each other. So, for example, you might go in for one procedure which requires several different treatments for that one condition. So you have a condition, it requires several different treatments, and those treatments occur under various different billing codes. So there can be a considerable amount of overlap in that specific situation which you mentioned. But you should keep in mind, more importantly, that over the course of a year, there are approximately 200 million bills that get sent into the Ministry of Health in a typical year. Those are reviewed. 99% of them have no issues.
Now, the government does have this promise of connecting every Ontarian to primary care by 2029, and they've put billions of dollars towards that effort. But today, the auditor said that there's not a whole lot of plan behind that money. They say there's a lack of coordination and a real deficiency in a program called Healthcare Connect. That's the wait list, the centralized wait list that the government's been pulling names off of and really celebrating whittling down that list. They say that it's down to 50% of what it was earlier this year, but not enough people are using it, and people are being prematurely taken off. All of this has raised a lot of concern for the opposition leader.
We know that over 2 million Ontarians don't have access to a family doctor. And this report tells us that the ministry is not on track to deliver on that promise to connect every Ontarian to primary care. The Minister of Health still has no timelines to measure people's access to a family doctor. It's all fluff. The government has opened the floodgates to privatization. That's also very clear in this report. They have opened the floodgates to privatization, and there are no guardrails to protect Ontarians.
The NDP leader is promising to put a lot of questions to the government about this report. Look for that in question period tomorrow.
Thanks so much for that, Siobhan. A lot of eyeballs on that report right now. Appreciate that report from you. It is 5:20, -2, feeling like -6. This is Live at 5.
And coming up, Mayor Olivia Chow proposing an increase to the city's luxury home tax. We're going to have more on what that could mean for Toronto's bottom line and the real estate market. That's next. Mayor Olivia Chow is proposing the city increase the luxury homes tax rate.
The motion to the executive committee suggests raising the cost to buy luxury homes incrementally between 0.9% and 1.1%. The motion says the city is facing an affordability crisis, and the update would shift the cost of funding to those who can afford it the most. This would bring the rate to 4.4% for those buying a $3 to $4 million home. That number would increase depending on the property value to as much as 8.6% for those buying a home worth more than $20 million. The motion says the change will bring in $152 million in 2026.
And for more on the proposed increase in the luxury home tax rate, we're joined live by Jason Mercer, Chief Information Officer with the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board. Jason, thanks a lot for joining us. On face value, what's your take on this?
Well, from Trump's perspective, we've always spoken out against the municipal land transfer tax, and for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's not a sustainable revenue source for the city of Toronto. Obviously, it's falling victim now to the cyclicality in the market, where we're seeing substantially fewer sales today than what we saw, say, 3 years ago at the peak of the market in 2021. And then on top of that, it makes housing less affordable across the board, whether we're talking about first-time buyers buying, say, a condominium apartment in the city of Toronto, or someone that's maybe looking to buy their second or third home where they may be verging into that quote-unquote luxury category.
I wonder what you would say, though, to the average person who's trying to afford their next home that they've got their eye on right now, and they think, why shouldn't these people who buy these homes $20 million, why shouldn't they pay a little bit more?
Well, if I was an individual looking to purchase their first home, say moving out of the rental market and into, say, a condominium apartment, I'd be concerned that I'm paying $25,000 or more up front for the average price home. That's money that could be going towards a larger down payment, thereby reducing my monthly mortgage payment, or it could be going towards, say, renovations or other expenses associated with purchasing a home. And those types of expenditures also help the economy from a positive perspective as well.
So also, just taking a look at other, big municipalities that have done similar things. LA, they had a mansion tax. What do we see there?
Well, I think generally speaking, when you look at any taxes associated with the sale of real estate, it can fall victim to the economic cycle. So it's not necessarily sustainable across time. I mean, from when the tax was first put in place in the early 2000s up until, say, 2021, we had a pretty steady period of time where home sales were increasing, home prices were increasing. Now, over the last 2 to 3 years, as interest rates were higher and housing became less affordable, we started to see sales drop off and with it drop the city's revenues that are reliant upon this tax.
I'm curious to know more about just the luxury real estate market in general right now. What's the state of it? I mean, when you're looking at homes at $4 million versus $20 million, are they selling right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's a smaller segment of the market. So, I understand sort of why they may key in on it versus other segments of the market that cater to a larger tranche of the population. But it's also important to remember that, when you affect sort of one segment of the housing market, it actually impacts the whole housing continuum. So imagine, for example, someone who owns sort of a mid-range home right now, but maybe they built up equity over time, they see their income increase and they want to move into a more expensive home price category. They may choose not to do so now if they're paying more of that upfront tax. They may choose to stay in the home that they're in and renovate instead. And that does two things. Number one, people aren't moving as often, so people can't cycle through the market. And number two, if they renovate their existing home, they're also changing the stock forever. And so people that normally would have moved from, say, a condominium apartment into, say, a smaller semi or detached home can no longer do that because the nature of that home has changed and it's impacted the price.
How well thought out would you say this proposal is?
I think in general, the municipal land transfer tax is well thought out for some of the reasons that we've discussed. Again, it's cyclical. So today we're not seeing nearly the revenue stream to the city of Toronto that we had in previous years. And on top of that, it's impacting affordability, certainly at the high end of the market. And so we're not going to see as many people potentially cycle into those types of homes. And so we're not going to see homes, further down the pricing spectrum listed for sale as a result.
Appreciate your perspective on this. Jason Mercer, thanks so much for being with us.
Very welcome.
It is 5:28 minus 2. This is Live at 5.
And we're following developments from Scarborough. This is where, look at this, a live shot, a significant water main break. This is a state drive. It's near Markham Road in progress. Stay with us for the very latest.
Run over and killed by his own vehicle. It happened to a garbage truck operator in Scarborough this morning. We have a live update from that scene.
An officer pulls a burning woman from a tent in an encampment. She was sent to hospital in serious condition. He burned his hands. We have the message from police this hour.
And we're following this developing situation from Scarborough. There she blows, where it appears a water main has burst near Markham Road and progress. Of course, temperatures dipping. That could freeze real soon.
This is Live at 5. I'm Bakari Savage. Welcome to Live at 5. A city worker's dead after being run over by the garbage truck that he was operating. It happened in Scarborough this morning.
CP24's Andrew Brennan joining us live with the very latest. Such a tragic story here. This man just going to work today, and unfortunately, this devastating event.
Yeah, Melissa, and he won't be coming home. And there was a message sent out by the mayor a few minutes ago just saying that her heart breaks for this man and his family, and also saying that flags from now, and this is, the mayor put it a few minutes ago, flags at all city buildings will be flown at half-mast until further notice in honor of this man's life and it being lost. Now, what happened here is something that many people would want to know. And based on statements from the police and video that we've been able to look through and corroborate details from several different door cameras, it seems that this has all the makings of what was just a tragic accident that ended in one of the worst ways possible. You can see right now from above a bit of the way that this could have played out. We have video that shows this large vehicle, this Mack truck, garbage truck, which can weigh, depending on what's in the back, anywhere from 35 to 80,000 pounds, that ultimately came to a rest or stopped by the force of hitting the light pole and stopping there. We have looked at video from door cameras in the on this street, not far from Morningside and Sewell's, that appears, purportedly, does show this driver attempting to stop the vehicle as it was going away or driving away on him, and he was chasing after it. Unfortunately, from this video, it appears that he slipped and fell in a snowbank and fell underneath the back two sets of tires for this, again, very large and heavy vehicle. Police say he died on the scene. We did say as well that we've been able to look at these videos, but also it's not just us. People that didn't even know this happened in their neighborhood went back to look at their door camera videos and were shocked to see what they saw.
He was walking, he slipped, and the truck just went over him, and that's all I saw.
How are you feeling about all this?
It's really sad. Like, you're upset. He's a serviceman. He deserved a full life.
All that we know about this man who was part of the waste management operations at the City of Toronto is that he was 66 years old. Based on statements coming from police and now from the mayor, it does appear that he had a family that he's not going home to tonight. The union that represents blue-collar workers for the city, this still was a route serviced by blue-collar workers, not privatized yet. But the statement from Local 416 says that they are also reeling after this tragedy, that they will be providing grief and counseling services to members that need it, those that may have known this man, and they will be cooperating fully in any investigations which are open now from the Ministry of Labour and from the City of Toronto's Police Department. As you said off the top, Melissa, and similarly from Bakari when we spoke not long ago, this a tragedy that has befallen a man 66 years old here in Scarborough. I'll send it back to you both.
Just an awful story there. Appreciate the update, though, Andrew. To another difficult story we are following today. A woman has life-threatening injuries after being found on fire in an encampment in South Etobicoke.
Police are appealing for witnesses for the latest in this investigation. Let's go live to CP24's crime analyst, Steve Ryan. Steve.
Yeah, Bakari and Melissa, Toronto Police responded to an assault call just before 10 o'clock this morning here at the 8th Street and Lakeshore in South Etobicoke. The primary scene appears to be behind me, which is behind the Ontario Fire Marshal's vehicle, just east of where I'm standing right now. When police arrived on scene, they found a woman who was on fire, and she was inside of a tent. Heroic efforts by Toronto police and officers sustained minor injuries to their hand as they pulled this woman out of the tent, and via an emergency run, she was transported to a hospital where she remains in life-threatening condition. The Ontario Fire Marshal's office are now on scene. They are mandated to investigate any fire where there is serious bodily harm or death as a result. So they will take the lead when it comes to the fire investigation. The police will conduct the assault investigation. That was the original call that they responded to, and any other criminal activity that comes out of their investigation or the investigation being led by the OFM, and they'll take their evidence and their expertise from the OFM if in fact charges are laid as a result of this fire and or as a result of the injury sustained by this woman because of the fire. Earlier on, we heard from the duty inspector from the Toronto Police, and we heard from the second in charge of 22 Division. 22 Division is the division in which this occurrence occurred. And here's more from the two of them. Let's listen.
A woman was seen walking away from the area around the time of this incident. And we're working to determine who she is and whether she may have information that could help us understand what occurred here today. We're asking anyone who was in the area and may have any information or dash cameras or videos, to please contact Toronto Police.
Given the inclement weather that we're experiencing right now, I'd imagine the numbers inside the building are probably increased, but the exact head count or the names of the people that are actually in there at the moment, I'm not sure. They may be witnesses to what occurred in here or the days leading up to the events as well. Certainly the fire is one concern, but the assault is another. So we're looking for information that alludes to both of them. They might be connected, but we're certainly interested in anybody that might be in the building that can assist with that information.
So this is an active scene. We've got the Ontario Fire Marshal's Office investigators and Toronto forensic officers are on scene as well. They are both teams are going through the evidence that's left at the scene. And as the inspector did say earlier, they are looking for witnesses to this occurrence and anybody that was in and around this area. In particular, a woman that police are interested in, who they saw walking through video surveillance. They saw walking away from the fire as it was going. She might have pertinent information that might help the police in this investigation, and the OFM as well. Cause, circumstances, and origin will be investigated by the Ontario Fire Marshal's Office. Back to you guys.
Okay, reporting live, CP24's crime analyst Steve Ryan. And Toronto fires on the scene of an apparent water main break. It happened in Scarborough this hour.
We've got a live look at the scene for you where water can just be pouring into the air at this point. It's on a state drive. It's creating a massive pool of water down the street near Markham Road and Progress Avenue. CP24 has reached out to the city for more information, but certainly you want to be cautious when you are driving through that area. Let's check in on the commute with CP24 traffic specialist Adwensia Yeboah. I know you're keeping an eye on this situation.
I am, Alyssa. And, you know, if you are making your way, I don't have a camera view of this anymore. Choppers left the scene, but still westbound lanes of Progress blocked west of Markham Road because of that ongoing burst water main. Watching problems that I can't see on camera happening on the Niagara-bound lanes of the QEW. This is right through Fairview Street. Center lane blocked with an ongoing collision. Looks like emergency crews just arriving on scene. Actually, a police cruiser on scene. Backing up the drive as you make your way through Burlington from well before Walker's Line. If your travels do take you towards the 401, we have this minor situation. No emergency crews, so when they do come, they will block the right lane. They always do. This is the westbound lanes of the 401 through Victoria Park and the Express, but at this point, it's off to the right shoulder. And if your travels take you towards the Gardner, jam solid exiting the downtown core, starting from Jarvis, continuing all the way out towards Kipling because of this stalled truck. Was in the right lane, managed to squeeze over to the side. Serious collision investigation from this morning. Reminder, Morningside not accessible at Sewell's following a fatal collision from the AM. I'll send it back to you both.
Thanks, Adj.
You're welcome.
Well, 2 TTC stations will officially go by new names starting Sunday.
Dundas Station has been renamed TMU Station, part of a partnership with Toronto Metropolitan University, which includes TMU helping with research into some issues facing the TTC. TMU covering the cost, $1.5 million worth of it for the name change. And Eglinton West Station, it's going to go by Cedarvale Station. The new names will soon be reflected in signage, on maps, and during announcements on the TTC. Councillor Josh Matlow is calling for a public inquiry into another issue involving transit, this time the Eglinton Crosstown LRT, as the line gets closer to opening.
The $13 billion 19-kilometer line passed a key 30-day testing milestone yesterday, which officials have said that's crucial to its opening. The milestone had Transportation Minister Prabmeet Sarkaria describing the potential opening as so close. Matlow says that an inquiry is needed into the years of delays so that the same mistakes are never repeated.
The public needs to have confidence in Metrolinx, the transit agency that's building transit, expanding transit as we speak. But if they're not open and transparent and accountable for the many years of problems, errors, mistakes, a P3 contract that clearly went wrong, if they're not open about what went wrong on Eglinton, how do we have confidence that they're not going to have the same errors, mistakes, and screw-ups as they construct the Ontario line, Scarborough, and other expansion projects that we want to be successful? But we need to know that they've learned from their mistakes so that what happened on Eglinton never happens again.
An ATU Local 113 President Marvin Alfred joined Matlow's calls for transparency from Metrolinx. This is after a worker was injured at the Mount Dennis yard in October.
We've been repeatedly asking for information from the TTC to assist the workers looking into what happened. Unfortunately, being directed that it's like a private matter or they'll get back to us is a real problem because, again, through the law, they're actually obligated to provide information for, even though we're not directly working in that sort of area and what happened there. At the same time, workers deserve that transparency in order to have that confidence. And that's what we're talking about regarding transparency. I can assure you that we've had executive board members, our health and safety reps, who've repeatedly tried to get this information, and we've been repeatedly not allowed or not given access to what's going on.
The transportation minister says there is still a chance that the Eglinton LRT is operating before the end of the year.
We continue to work with the TTC every day, and a lot of their exercises will overlap over that two-week period as well. So we'll work with them as we did on Finch. Ultimately, they will tell us when they are ready to start working on this and getting the operational passenger ready. But we have passed the revenue service demonstration. We will mark substantial completion over the 2 weeks. We just did this with Finch, so we have the process in place. We know what it's going to take, and ultimately we're continuing to work. This line has operated now for almost 30 days as if it was in passenger service without any issues. So we've marked a huge milestone here.
It's 5:42, 2 below zero. This is Live at 5.
Coming up, an important conversation about brain health taking place in Toronto today. The event featuring the wife of Bruce Willis. We'll have more from her next.
Ontario's Auditor General has released her annual report, which has raised some concerns about the healthcare system.
Shelley Spence found that the province isn't properly overseeing doctors' billings. An analysis of claims over the last 3 years found that in each year, at least 59 doctors billed for more than 24 hours of service in a day. And the ministry hasn't thoroughly reviewed those claims. When it comes to family doctor access, the report finds very few physicians are participating in the province's Healthcare Connect system, leading to long wait times. The government has boasted of reducing the wait list by half, but the report shows the number of people on that list is not representative of the true need for primary care, as only about 11% of people without a family doctor have registered.
We did recommend that they expand it to other languages because there's a lot of people that wouldn't have access to be able to understand how to use Healthcare Connect. And having only about 11% of the people that need a family doctor even knowing about Healthcare Connect, there needs to be more education and more wide spread information about how to register on Healthcare Connect.
The parliamentary assistant to Ontario's health minister responded to the report and says the system usually gets it right.
When a doctor is submitting for a billing code, he might need that doctor, he or she might need to submit for more than one billing code to cover a treatment which went to one specific patient. So we need not automatically jump to an assumption with respect to that situation which you just described. There is a secondary auditing process which occurs and can be initiated by the ministry. That secondary auditing process goes through those types of situations, takes a second look at those types of situations, and most of them are resolved.
Liberal health critic Adil Shamji says that the report highlights issues his party has been raising for a long time.
I've stood here on multiple occasions and flagged multiple instances of overcharging and inappropriate billing directed towards patients and implored the Minister of Health to actually take action on that. Repeatedly, I was most recently here outlining 50 cases of inappropriate overcharging directed towards Ontario patients. The stories were featured on the front page of the Star. And the Minister of Health had promised to follow up on those things. She never did.
The Auditor General says the provincial government set a new record for advertising spending in the last fiscal year. It shelled out $112 million, with most of it going to a campaign against U.S. tariffs that aired south of the border. Well, Toronto hosted a summit on women's brain health today.
And the event featured discussions with leading experts and advocates on neurological aging disorders. That included Emma Hemming-Willis, She's the wife of Bruce Willis and founder of Make Time Wellness. Conversations focused on topics such as the need for gender-based research, health equity, and the importance of caregiving. Organizers say that the summit is meant to highlight the urgent need for action to address the disproportionate impact Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia have on women.
I think the role of a caregiver is, it's one of the most beautiful jobs and roles, but it is something that goes really unseen and unsupported. And I find, for many caregivers, including myself, just how isolating it can be. So I think it's really important that we keep talking about caregiving, being able to, raise awareness, shine a light, a big spotlight on caregivers so that they get the support that's needed for them.
The event was held to celebrate the 7th annual Women's Brain Health Day.
It's 5:49 minus 2. This is Live at 5.
We have more news straight ahead. Stay with us. A national drug operation dubbed the National Fentanyl Sprint 2.0 resulted in the seizure of 2,000 kilos of illicit drugs.
Between May and October 31st, 21 law enforcement agencies took part in the initiative. It was led by the Canadian Integrated Response to Organized Crime. They recovered 386 kilos of fentanyl, nearly 6,000 kilos of cocaine, 1,700 kilos of meth. Officers also seized more than $13 million in cash. Now, the operation led to more than 8,000 arrests across the country. And the Assembly of First Nations has unanimously rejected the Carney government's agreement with Alberta on a potential pipeline to BC's northern coast.
Chiefs representing more than 600 First Nations voted to call on Ottawa to withdraw the Memorandum of Understanding and uphold the oil tanker ban after Carney announced a deal with Alberta Premier Danielle Smith last week. The AFN chief blasted the federal government today for a lack of consultation prior to announcing the MOU.
The truth is that Canada can create all the MOUs, project offices, advisory groups that they want, but chiefs are united. When it comes to approving large national projects on First Nations lands, there will not be getting around rights holders. That's another reason outstanding First Nations treaty rights must be reconciled before others, because Métis rights do not include rights over First Nations lands, territories, and resources.
And Prime Minister Mark Carney was given an opportunity to address the AFN this afternoon.
Under the legislation, there must be consultation consistent with free, prior, and informed consent before a project can be designated in Canada's national interest, and none have been so far. But even once one is designated, even once that happens, there must be additional consultations on the conditions necessary for that project to succeed. And these conditions, these issues would naturally include requirements for Indigenous ownership, Indigenous economic benefits, and environmental protections.
Carney later told the AFN his government will introduce clean drinking water legislation in the spring, delaying a bill that had been promised for this fall. He says he'll host a meeting with federal, provincial, territorial, and First Nations leaders early in the new year, and that coordination on water solutions will be a key agenda item. There are currently more than 30 active water advisories impacting First Nations in Canada.
It's 5:54 minus 2. This is Live at 5.
The Raptors are back home, looking to turn things around. More on the Toronto teams in action tonight. That is coming up.
All right, the Blue Jays have made it official, signing pitcher Dylan Cease to a 7-year contract worth $210 million. So considered one of the best pitchers available this offseason, the 29-year-old Cease gets the largest free agent contract in Jays franchise history. Since 2021, Cease has led the majors with 162 starts and more than 1,100 strikeouts.
So Christmas coming early for Jays fans there. Turning to basketball now, the Raptors will try to bounce back tonight as they begin a 5-game homestand against the Trailblazers.
Abaji to quick trigger.
The Raptors have dropped back-to-back games against the Knicks and Hornets following a 9-game winning streak. The team sits 4th in the East with a 14-7 record and has gone 7-2 at Scotiabank Arena this season. Tip-off tonight is at 7:30.
In for Easton Cowan, centering it, back to Cowan, scores! What a pass from Nylander!
Okay, the Leafs are going to try and win back-to-back games for the first time in nearly a month tonight as they continue their road trip against the Panthers. The Leafs got a much-needed 7-2 win over the Penguins. That was on Saturday. Since beating Utah November 5th, the Leafs have won just 3 of 11 games. Tonight's game gets underway at 7:30.
The Argos have named Mike Miller as the team's next head coach. Miller has served as the team's quarterbacks coach since 2022 and has nearly 30 years of experience in the CFL, the NFL, and NCAA. Ryan Dinwiddie left the team to join the Ottawa Redblacks as their head coach and general manager last month. The Argos finished this season with a 5-13 record, and of course, they missed the playoffs.
Right now, it's 5:59, 2 below zero. This is Toronto's Breaking News, CP24.
Thank you so much for watching. CTV News at 6 is next.